So right now I'm out at one of my local shooting areas. I'm just kind of walking around, looking around, you know, picking up a little bit of lead. I already got a good time out here shooting earlier, so now I thought I'd pick up a little bit of lead. I picked up some brass earlier, and I want to stress that when it comes to picking up lead, try not to get in a big hurry, or try not to set your bar so high, because if you set your bar high and have high expectations of the amount of lead that you're going to pick up, it's going to make you feel like a failure if you don't get or meet that expectation. But on the flip side of that coin, if you didn't have any high expectations and you come out not expecting much, well, then you'll be happy with what you found. And that's really what I mean when I discuss marathon lead. That's what I mean by that. If I come out, you know, right now I have a small handful, and if that's what I left with, that's gonna make me happy, because I didn't have my expectations anything more than a handful. So sometimes you'll come out like this and you'll be looking around and you'll strike out and you'll find one or two small pieces, if that. Then other times you'll come out, you'll be walking around and you'll find a lot, and you'll really enjoy the process, and it'll be a beautiful day, kind of like what it is today. And maybe you'll feel your hand, and maybe you'll still be enjoying the process. So you'll pick up a little more, and then before you know it, you might have filled up a water bottle full. And that's a successful day too, because you exceeded your expectations, because you never went in there with high expectations at all. You had low expectations, and that makes your reward feel good, because you did more than you thought you would. So when it comes to lead, don't have high expectations, and you'll be happy with what you found. It's kind of like what I say sometimes: be happy with what you have instead of crying about what you don't have. So maybe you were out picking up brass and you struck out on brass. Well, turn it around and start looking for lead. Maybe you'll have a good lead day. Or vice versa. Maybe you came out with an anticipation of finding lead, and maybe you struck out on lead. Then you turn your expectations around and you start looking for brass, possibly. But don't have your anticipation of what you're going to find too high. Can't stress that enough, because, you know, when I first started picking up lead, I used to come out and I'd say, man, I'm going to come out and I'm going to pick up 25 pounds. I'm not going to leave till I have 25 pounds of lead. Yeah. How many times did that happen? Hardly at all. Hardly at all, because, like I mentioned, my expectations were much too high. And so every time I would come out lead hunting, I felt like a failure, because I had expected a lot and didn't meet my expectations. So now it's like, okay, If I catch a handful, good. If not, that's fine too. I'm just out enjoying the day, you know, enjoying this air. My dog gets to run. Life is good. And at the end of the day, not saying I would be out here all day, but at the end of the day, what I mean is, you know, I look down at my hand and I have a nice little handful of lead. And that little handful of lead can make a few bullets. 15, 20 bullets maybe, depending on how much I find. And it sure makes it feel better to come out when you don't have some high expectations, because you feel like you can't fail. You feel like, okay, I'll come out, and if I find some, cool, and if I don't, that's cool too. And I'm enjoying the weather, I'm enjoying the sun. Like I said, the dog's running around playing. You know, we're just living life. And the bonus is we'll get a handful of lead out of it. If you're enjoying what you're doing, you know, put this thing in a water bottle or a cup or something, come out and get some more. But you know, you've already made your quota, so to speak. So when you leave, you'll feel very successful about what you found. Like I mentioned earlier, I had the anticipation of coming out and picking up 20 pounds or 30 pounds, whatever. And then you leave and you get home and you weigh what you found and it's only 10 pounds. You kind of like, man, I didn't do so good. When in all honesty, you did great. So you have to get away from that crazy mindset of quantity and get into a bunch of small quality amounts. I keep dropping them because my hand is full. And that's usually my quota. When my hand's full and I start dropping them, that's a good day. And the other thing that's good about picking up lead this way is you don't have people picking up the whole area. So you don't have one guy hoarding all the lead. So what that means to me is, that means, you know, the next guy that comes out, he has a chance to get a handful. And the guy after him has a chance to come out and get a handful. Because nobody's hoarding. When people start hoarding and they come out and looking for 30 pounds of lead, spending all day out here, that kind of messes it up. It's kind of like nature, kind of like the animals and how the balance is in the forest, you know. There's certain things that have to happen and this animal relies on that animal and things like that, like Mother Nature. I kind of relate that principle to hunting for lead. So anyway, there's my quota for the day. Doesn't look like much, but if I do a little like this every day, first of all, it doesn't seem as cumbersome and the reward feels much better. Like I said, I feel positive about what I was able to do. So I hope you found some good, useful information out of this video. As always, feel free to comment, subscribe, thumbs up, like, share, and go out and pick up some lead. And we'll talk to you next time. Have a beautiful day, everybody. That looks like a piece of brass. My hand is full. My quota has been met. Bye-bye. Have a beautiful day, everybody.